gentlemen, Jon Lovett, Jon Favreau, and Tommy Vietor, Pod Save America. Okay, Lovett, he brought up Gulf of America in his speech.
Right.
He mentioned that he's going to sign by fiat, he's just going to change that to the Gulf of America. Can we just give him this one?
Yeah.
It's not that important, right?
I don't care about it. I don't care about it at all.
Right.
Okay, our maps will say one thing, everyone else's maps will say another. Not the first time that's happened in world history.
No.
It does eventually become a problem when the maps are different. People get very upset, and then wars are fought. But we're not going to fight over the Gulf of Mexico. We're going to fight over Panama.
But isn't the Gulf of Mexico, Gulf of America thing just feels like imperial system versus metric to me.
Right.
It doesn't really matter what we say as long as the rest of the world gets it right.
He just wants to name stuff. He wants to name stuff after himself, after America. He wants people to feel good about the country. He's run out of things to do.
It's very autocratic. Like, the next thing is to name, like, the months of the year after his mother, right?
Well, yeah. But then he, there's all kinds of things he's doing where he invents a problem and then solves it, right? Yesterday, you couldn't buy gas cars. Now you can again. It's like, I can buy a gas car. Right. Thank you, right?
He signed an executive action on free speech. We're all allowed to, free speech is here again, which is great. We can say what we want.
We can say what we want?
He may sue us, but we can say what we want.
Wow. Go yourself.
Looks like it was Liberation Day. You feel liberated.
I feel freer already.
The vibe shift, Stephen. The vibe shift.
Okay, I think we all want a successful presidency for the American people.
Sure.
Yes. What do you think the odds of that are? Because you want peace and prosperity. You don't want any president to fail based upon what those metrics are for failure, but based upon, a previous performance is indicative of future results. Give me odds on a successful presidency, Tommy Vietor.
I think we got to hope for the best, plan for the worst.
Yeah.
I think, the Trump inaugural address that we all were supposed to see was kind of boring and low energy and normal. And then there was the overflow, which was the petty grievances and Nancy Pelosi is a criminal and stuff like that. So I think the things we should have to remember are watch what Trump does, not what he says. Don't chase every outrage down the rabbit hole. And then remember the things he cares about. He cares about the stock market going up, and he cares about bad headlines. And when those two things, when he doesn't get what he wants from the press or the markets, he'll change course. And so that's the way we can influence his behavior.
Instead of asking what happened, which, as I said before, I don't think people really know exactly how we are, where we are. I think people are going to rush to a lot of answers there, and time will tell. I'd rather ask what's next? How can people channel their, pure frustration into energy somewhere productive?
Yeah, we're going to have midterm elections in 2026. Democrats have a very good chance of taking back the House, so I think we can focus on that. If we are able to take back the House in 2026, then Donald Trump will never sign another piece of legislation again. So we should focus on that. But look, I think the Democratic Party needs to learn to listen to people. We just spent the last 4 years where, a majority of Americans said, prices are too high, inflation's too high, and the White House said, no, everything's great, look at all these statistics. And then majority of people said, we don't want Joe Biden to run again because he's too old and he should make room for someone else. And the White House said, no, we're good, the polls are wrong, he's just gonna run again and it's fine. And I think that we have consistently as a party felt like being right is enough, and being right is not enough. You actually have to persuade people to believe what you're saying. And I think that's what Democrats have to try to do.
Love it. Let's talk about the most important thing here.
Okay.
Trump is getting credit for saving TikTok.
That's right.
But he originally wanted to ban TikTok.
Yeah.
So whichever way you fall on this issue, you agree with Donald Trump.
Yeah. And I'm furious.
And you're furious. Okay. Do you think from what you know, is this ban a good idea or a bad idea?
So, it was never meant to be a ban, right? This company was supposed to be divested from its Chinese ownership and sold to an American company, which means we don't mind having an app that's rotting the brains of our children. We just want to be the ones doing the rotten. And so that is confusing to me, and no one has ever made a very good case to me as to why this app that does so much damage is okay as long as it's in American hands.
But does it do more damage than Instagram Reels or other social media?
But this to me is, I think, the bigger point. I don't know. There's a lot of research that says Instagram is bad for us. All this stuff is bad for us, and what we've learned it's all bad. What we've learned from the Russians in 2016 and Elon Musk taking over Twitter, whether it's our billionaires or other countries. what we have learned is that when these people throw a bunch of digital like nunchucks and digital throwing stars and digital axes in a center of a bunch of Americans, we will pick them up and bludgeon each other with them. And it doesn't seem to really matter who owns it. And the problem is that we really, like, these apps do so much damage to us. They suck our attention, they make us anxious and angry and furious with one another. And I do think there's an element of what these apps do, which is they go towards the sensational and the paranoid and the conspiratorial, which has kind of shifted all of our politics to the right.
Don't you love a good conspiracy?
I love a good recipe.
Oh, do you know? I have a cookbook. Does this taste funny?
That's thanks.
Would you like it? Would you like this?
I'd love that.
We'll see. We'll see.
Okay.
We'll see. We have to take a quick break. We'll be back with more Tommy Vietor, Jon Lovett, and Jon Favreau.